All right. Welcome to a new episode of Not Life as I See It, the podcast, but we welcome you all to a new experience. This is called Qualified Conversations. So here at Qualified Conversations, we give an in-depth look into the individual that's sitting on the couch, and we get to explain exactly what makes them qualified. So today, we have a young lady, a woman, a strong woman, a black woman hailing from New Jersey. So shouts to Jersey, y'all already know. And she is an event coordinator. She's an artist manager. She's a producer. She's a lifestyle brand strategist. She's a CEO. She's an overall boss. And of course, my name is Jerz. But introducing to you, we have Lady Ola.
Hello. I love that introduction.
He was like, "Who was that? Who
Right.
we talking
It makes
to?"
me feel like I really do something in life.
Well, I mean, you do. You know what I'm saying? You do.
Man. Yes. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Jerz.
Nah, no problem. I mean, for me, it was a no-brainer, right? Because this is the month where we celebrate women.
Yes.
And, I thought, well, who better than to reach out to someone that I do know that does hail from where I come from, but also someone who's actually doing something as a woman in this space, constantly elevating and taking things to the next level. I'm proud to know you and to watch things from afar and see them unfold for real. And so it's just dope. So it was a no-brainer for me. So, but we
Thank
do
you.
welcome you though.
I appreciate that. And when you reached out to me, I'm like, oh, of course, it's Jerz. Why not?
Say that. So, speaking of, the connection from Jersey, let's just kind of talk about that a little bit, right?
Okay.
Because years ago, I mean, we've done a bunch of things together. You were a guest on our show. We've done things for you.
Yes.
And in that space, vice versa management, right?
Mm-hmm.
So speak to the people a little bit about vice versa management, what it is, what it was, what it morphed into, so on and so forth.
So, vice versa management, I created that when I was in high school. So, it's in my yearbook. I talked about it. I thought I was going to be like the next Missy Elliott and produce and, graduate from Howard University. And I went to School of C, graduated with BA with audio production. And I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be a music producer. Not to produce music so much, but just still have it under my belt. But focus primarily on artist management. And then because being a female in the music industry, you can get, some shady people that take advantage of women in the business. Right. So I wanted to know what was going to happen in the studio, everything about it when it comes to the board, mixing and editing, everything. And then when I got in the studio, I'm like, wait, this is way too much. I really don't want to do all of this.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. Like, I have the ear, and I am a creator and creative, but I'm not that creative. Mm-hmm. So I then focused more on artist management, and when I became legit and did all the paperwork, high school was just a name.
Sure.
I just told everybody about it, and I just, went along with it. But then in college, I really solidified it, and got the LLC, got the paperwork, and then started looking for artists and that I wanted to manage. And, a lot of artists were coming to me like, hey, can you manage me? And I'm like, sure. I was new to it. I'm like, yeah, I want a manager. You want me to be your manager? Yeah. Why not? Then I'm like, wait, this takes a lot of money. I can't manage all these artists
and
at one time.
And personalities.
Right. And then a lot of people didn't understand that a manager is different from a personal assistant. It's like, I'm your manager, not your personal assistant.
We'll break that down a little bit, right? Because, again, I mean, there's people watching who may be young and may be aspiring artists or what have you. They may not know the difference, or they may be people that want to be managers and they think that a manager's job is to be a personal assistant, or they think the two worlds collide. So kind of speak about some of those differences.
For example, let's say your day-to-day. Yes, I'm going to schedule your day-to-day and make sure everything consists of what you need to get done for your project or whatever we're doing for that day. So it may be, making sure your studio time is right, your photo shoot's great, your press kit is going on, lining up interviews for that day, whatever you need professionally done for your career that day. I'm not getting your coffee. I'm not trying to figure out if your girlfriend can get a train ticket to meet you here.
Sounds like
I'm
you
not
done been
booking-
through some of those
Yeah,
scenarios before.
I am not scheduling your lunch date
Yeah.
in between your sessions.
Okay.
I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna be your pickup ride. And no, we can figure out who can schedule you, how you're gonna get to certain destinations. But sometimes you can't pick. I can't pick up my artist depending on the situation.
Right.
But some people like to take advantage of the situation. So with certain things like that, like I'm there to take care of your professional needs for that day, not your personal needs for that day. I don't care about your laundry. I don't care about your dog.
Right.
I mean, I'm a dog lover. Okay, I have a dog.
Right.
But
Me too,
it's just, yeah, like your person, they have to be able to separate professional and personal needs when it comes to management.
So now, it's interesting because we speak about, or I spoke about in the beginning of how strong of a woman you are and how you've managed to navigate and matriculate within the space. But speak about the importance of having that assertiveness as a woman in, I don't know if it's fair to say it's a male dominated field, right? So speak about those moments of uncomfortability and you finding yourself in the space and then learning how to be assertive but not too much,
I think and I'm gonna say I'm lucky and blessed enough that I've never been in an uncomfortable situation. So I can't really speak too much about that, but I've set myself up to not be in that situation.
Okay.
So when they say when you walk in a room, make sure you belong in that room. Make sure your presence is known. So when I go into any music event, any professional setting, any studio time, I walk in dressed like a boss. I walk in knowing what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to present myself. So when they look at me, when they talk to me, when they connect and network with me, they know I'm not somebody to play with.
Right.
I'm not someone to disrespect. She's here about business.
Right.
It's the way you carry yourself. I've seen women come to the studio in booty shorts, halter tops, sundresses with no panties on, titties out. And then they wonder why the producer want to touch. And not saying because you dress like that, you're gonna, but it's like,
it's enticing.
It's enticing. And men like certain things.
Absolutely.
Women like certain things.
Right.
We all have there's temptations there. And every time I walked in a room in a professional setting, even if it's not a professional setting, I always walk around like you never know who you might meet.
Right.
So I stay prepared. So I just made sure, again, I'm always prepared to see whoever I need to, that I don't get disrespected.
Right.
And then being in nightlife as well, I was able to meet certain people and be around certain people to understand that as well, which then enabled it enabled me, but it also helped me be in other rooms where they introduced me to people and they're like, she's a boss because of what they already saw and they met and they knew about me, that if you schedule something with Ola, it's strictly about business. No one can ever say, I smashed that.
Right,
I took her on a date.
Right.
Or I was about to. No one, not one. And I wish somebody would try.
Don't try it. Don't try it
say
because you're
that they
lying.
mix business with pleasure. But yeah, it's just preparing yourself to be in those situations. And I feel like you just got to come and dress and be that person that you want people to know.
Right.
You
Okay, cool. So now we introduced you as Lady Ola, right?
Yes.
Obviously, your first name is Ola. Your last name, pronounce it for me again.
Amokomowo.
Amokomowo.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Nigerian.
Yes.
Right?
Big up Niger. Okay.
No, hey, get it
I
off.
have the worst Nigerian accent, so I'm not going to try to talk. But yes, all my Nigerian people, especially Yoruba.
There you go. So I'm interested to know about, I guess, culturally, growing up in Newark.
Yes.
I know Newark is a city that's been pretty much black as long as I've been alive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't really see Newark as a place that was segregated in that way. But then you being Nigerian, was there ever any jokes about being African or any of those things coming up? Because Newark is still tough, and you know how kids are.
Yeah.
And I went to school in EO for a little bit, so I get Essex County public school system.
Yeah. I've never was teased about my name. And that's funny because in school, up until college, I guess the way my mom put it on my birth certificate or whatever, they never called me Ola. Like, so I've been called my first name in school my entire life, which is Coffee Lot. So I used to get like cough a lot, like she cough a lot, but it wasn't to where it bothered me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, and your name is Boniqua. Like, it's like, you know, it's just like I went back and forth with it, but it wasn't anything where I ran home like, oh my God, they're talking about my name.
Okay.
And the schools that I went to were always academia heavy. So we weren't really like, we were more competing about what grade you got, or, you know.
Yeah, that means she's smart, y'all. Right, that means she's smart.
You know, so it wasn't a lot of, it wasn't, it wasn't anything like that.
Because, you know, early 90s, like when the African booty scratching and all of that. But it was
kicking rocks and all that other stuff. No, it was little things. It was never anything big. And I think because my parents came here when they were very young, like teenagers, so like 18, 19.
Oh, so they were pretty much ingratiated in American culture, too.
Right, so by the time we were born and I grew up, I was still in a Flyers gear. My hair, it wasn't like, to this day I get, you're African? And I'm like, they expect Africans to look a certain way, talk a certain way. And when I show them my family, they're like, oh, wait, y'all all light-skinned and brown. Like, they think we're going to be dark-skinned and have this strong, rich, you know, tone and voice and accent. And it's like, we're not all what you see on TV.
Right.
So I guess I painted that picture for them or my family, like, oh, they look just like us, they act just like us, they can dress like that, just like us, they can present themselves just like us. So it was a shock for them, mainly like, oh, she's put together, rather than what they see on television.
That's dope. All right, so what I also want to ask, now it seems like African culture is being embraced in America. Not even seems. It is being overly embraced in America. And Afro beats is a big thing. It's like the hottest music now. As a proud Nigerian woman, did that make you feel extra empowered and extra proud that like your people or our people are being celebrated in that way, or it was just like, oh, about time? Like, what was your take on that?
I want to say it's about time because I've always celebrated my culture. I'm very proud to be from Africa, to know my lineage, because it's kind of sad that some people don't know their lineage or where they, you know, their backstory, their history. Because in my household, even though my parents were here when they were very young, we still blasted out African music. You can't tell us anything, but the neighbors did, you know, like turn it down, you know. It's just exciting that I can finally play music that my mom, or we can hear music on the radio that we both know, you know, we both can jam to and talk about and get excited about. And she's like, wait, he's Nigerian and he's on Hot 97 or 105.1 or he's on TV and you see famous celebrities, you know, dancing to this type of music. Like, that's where seeing my mom's excitement excites me.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, because she would not have thought that could ever happen. She only knows the artists that she grew up to and that they know and that they listen to because, you know, they still are able to get their music now through the internet. Because back in the day, my mom used to have her sister make a cassette tape and ship it because she wasn't able to know what was being played on the radio over there. So when she went home, she'll bring back massive CDs that she can play. But now the fact that it's being, you know, it's I don't even want to say saturated now. But
right. Yeah.
Like Nigerian culture is heavy
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, it's in rotation that now she can also hear her music being played on the radio and on television, on any internet platform, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's dope. That's very dope. So shout out to family. Shout out to moms.
Yes, Mom.
So I want to speak about the journey in Atlanta, right? We've kind of covered a little bit about Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get to you actually landing here, why here? Why Atlanta?
Okay, so before moving to Atlanta, I've had a lot of my friends already live here.
Okay.
And my best friend lives here. Then my college best friend moved here. And then, you know, back in Jersey, I don't know if you ever heard of Hit Squad. They threw the biggest teenage party. Yeah. So they were all here. So So it was mainly like I was always here. See, my sister used to work for the airport.
Okay.
So I used to fly for free. People thought I had
the buddy pass.
People just thought I was balling. Like, you stay on flight. Nah, I was just a flight. You know,
I just make it look good.
Right, I made it look good. So I was literally in Atlanta every other weekend because the job that I had, I was always off Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
So I would leave and be here. So
That's
people thought I lived in Atlanta already.
That's crazy.
So when I was in Atlanta, they were like, oh, you here? Or come here. So I just had like, oh, I'm going to be here. And I networked that way. So where I'm like, you know what, I do need to be in Atlanta as far as industry-wise, because this is when I was still in the music side.
Okay.
And I'm like meeting everyone that is producers and on music producers and TV producers. And I'm like, nothing's happening in New Jersey for me. It's like I was making my situations in Jersey. Like everything that I wanted to be a part of, I had to do in Jersey. And I felt like with Jersey, it's not a lot of partnerships. It's more of competition.
Absolutely.
And then something happened. I lost my job. It wasn't like I was fired, but my boss was laid off from her job. And I was like, okay, no job, no kids, no man. I only have a dog. My best friend's in Atlanta.
What's holding me back?
You know? So I called her. She was like, girl, we've been telling you to move. Just come and move. But I didn't want to move without a job.
Right.
So then my other girlfriend, it's power of connections. She lined up a job for me. It wasn't what I wanted, but it was something, you know. And then I moved out here, and that's what happened. Because the job that I had was a great job. And mind you, both my bosses, shout out to them, I love them still, we're both music executives. They both, one worked for Sony, one worked for, don't kill me, Republic Records.
Yeah.
Both knew I wanted to be in the industry. Both knew I wanted to do something. Just get me in there. But I didn't work for them for the company. I privately worked for them as
on the side.
A nanny / personal assistant, home care person. But I was making good money. You know what I'm saying? I was great. Yeah. But it was more of raises that kept happening, but not promotions. And I kept saying, God, set me up to where I can be where I need to be. And the fact that when my boss lost her position, and she didn't want to let me go, but it was no point. Like, if I'm home now, I don't really need you to be at my house. So I was like, all right, well, no job, no kids, no man. Let me just go.
Yeah, why not?
Let me just go, right. You know, and I've been able to move away from Jersey several times. That wasn't my first move. So it wasn't like fear. It was just now nothing's there.
Yeah.
So, and then I came to Atlanta.
I feel that because Atlanta is one of those places, and the South in general is one of those areas where, like you said, the competition, the hustle and bustle, the dog eat dog mentality up top it's life.
Cold.
Yeah, it's life.
Literally cold and figuratively cold.
Right. And you have to get in where you fit in.
Right.
So only the strong survive for real.
Right.
And,
absolutely.
New York has the saying of if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. But we're still from the metro area. So I think that we're all grouped into that same saying because there's no place in the country, really the world, that's like that.
Yeah.
In the Northeast, New York metropolitan area is just so...
It's a lot.
You know what I'm saying? And then you come here or you come to the South. You come to Atlanta specifically where it's the Black Mecca. It's Black Hollywood. It's opportunities galore. It's still what you make it. You still got to go out there and get it. It's still not going to be just handed to you. But the opportunities are there. And the connections that you can make are endless. And it's us. Yeah. So culturally, we're in tune.
Yeah.
I want to speak about that with you because, like I said, I've been a fan from afar. And I've just been paying attention to some things that have been going on. So... one thing I want to speak about that you did actually relatively recently. Well, actually, I'll start here. Okay. What is it? Welcome to Nightlife?
Nightlife of Atlanta.
Nightlife of Atlanta. Excuse me. Nightlife of Atlanta. Now, was it a web series? Was it a TV show? What exactly was it?
It was a web series on YouTube, which I need to figure out. I don't know. I'm gonna talk to y'all. My whole series went off on you. Somebody pulled it, the whole thing, but we'll figure it out.
Okay.
But it was a web series about the behind the scenes of what happens in a nightclub in Atlanta. And that just fell in my lap. It just came out of nowhere. Hit up, a lot of the owners and big managers of like the biggest nightclubs in Atlanta and see if they wanted to be a part of this project. And it's because and I worked in nightlife. I worked in nightlife since New Jersey. And actually since I've been in DC, then I moved to Jersey. I started off as a bottle girl, bartender, and then when I moved here, became a VIP manager. So everyone sees the glitz and the glam, because one, it's Atlanta, ballers, the celebrities. They see the bottle girls, the sparklers, everyone's jumping on couches, popping bottles. But no one knows what really happens or what it takes to run a multi-million-dollar business. You have several partners, you have several owners, you have promoters. And within all of that, you have so many chiefs and not enough Indians or something like that. Trying to make decisions and make things work and operate something. Everyone has a voice, and it's a lot. Yeah. And even though some clubs are only open up 1 or 2 days a week, it's a 7-day week, 24 hours a day job. I had to have another phone. I had to have 2 different lines. And it's a lot that goes on that I wanted people to know, like, this what it takes to give you that night, that fun that you want.
And the image, right? Like, to bring it all together. Yeah.
It's not easy, and people spend thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars.
Nightlife is expensive.
For 4 hours max to have a good time. So we want to make sure that we give you that good time. But just to show them what it took or what it takes to give you that 4 hours of good time.
So was it, you said it was a behind the scenes look. So was it?
So we showed the bottle girl beefs.
Okay.
We showed a shutdown of one of the biggest nightclubs in Atlanta, like why it shut down, when it had to shut down, what it took to shut down, celebrating it, managers beef, the stealing that occurs behind the scenes, because these bottle girls, they would try you, so like the drama that happens, but then also the upsides of what happens. So it was like 9 episodes. I even filmed a reunion. And it was 3 different locations. So now we're about to start filming season 2 of Nightlife of Atlanta, and I would love to bring it to like different cities, Nightlife of Houston and New York and Miami.
Houston is fire.
Houston's crazy, so it's trademarked. So don't try to don't try to steal the name. Don't try to do nothing. Okay, it's copywritten. But so because we always get questions about it, and again, people always see and think it's so much fun. And it is fun, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of work that goes into it.
So when I started, I ran down the list for y'all, all right? I ran down the list. So I'm going through the list because Nightlife of Atlanta was one thing, but then you also were a producer on the Love and Hip Hop reunion, right?
Yes. So I did a couple of seasons with that. And it's funny, that's how I started getting into producing. I was working at a front desk at a hotel, and which I call her my godmother now, my fairy godmother. This woman comes in, a woman you would never think that will work for Love and Hip Hop, right? And she's just had a time. She's in Atlanta. She had a time of her life, and she's just like, I need help. Basically, she just needed help, and she, she probably was sipping champagne that night, celebrating. And, it's all about the way, you respect somebody. Just because they're intoxicated, don't just rub them off. Or you never know who you're talking to.
You never know.
So the great customer service and the beautiful personality that I had, I just helped her from A to Z. And at the end of the conversation, she was just like, is this what you want to do with your life? Like, what prompted her to say that,
I'm interested now.
Right. So I was like, no. Still, I didn't know what she did, who she was. And she's like, well, send me your resume. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm like, this lady's drunk, whatever. She's not going to remember me.
Right.
And she left me her email address.
I bet you sent it.
No, I didn't send it. I'm like, she's not going to remember.
The plot thickens.
Right. She was Okay, she was intoxicated.
Okay.
And she was not elderly, but she was,
Older,
much older.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's not gonna remember me the next day. So she comes down. I worked the overnight shift.
Okay.
So when she came down the next morning, she saw me and she was like, don't forget to send me your resume.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, wow, she still remembers. I'm like, oh, okay. Send her my resume. Come to find out she's a TV producer. She's not the TV producer. She's the line producer, top dog for producing the reunions. All of them, not just one. Every, Love and Hip Hop reunion, she's the line producer.
Crazy.
So I sent it to her, and Lord behold, because of my music industry background and what I had on my resume, she's like, oh, you're in entertainment. All right, I'm going to line up a job for you. I need you to come be a PA, just an assistant for Love and Hip Hop, and see where it goes. Mm-hmm. And when I say that changed my, entire,
world
and what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be around, I'm like, this is my passion. I thought music was because, I grew up around it. I love it. I love music, but as far as career-wise, I love producing, directing, coming up with, storylines and building it. And from there, she just moved me around. I got promoted every season. And she even flew me to New York to be with her for 2 different shows, like an Oprah Winfrey show. We did the pilot for Drew Barrymore. And she never trained me, or I never been trained for any of the positions. She's like, this is what you're going to do. Figure it out.
Nice.
That's how I had to do it. She just figured me out, and it was I had to figure it out on how to, go from being a PA to a host producer to a segment producer. And she's like, you'll figure it out. You got this. I know you get it.
Now, I'm sure that it presented a bunch of different challenges. But,
oh, yeah.
But do you feel like it was a seamless transition, or it was very, very an uphill challenge? Or did you, in other words, what I'm asking is, did you feel at home, or did it feel like, oh shit, what did I get myself into? You know what I'm saying? Because it's something that you were familiar with, but not specifically.
Right.
So what was your feeling then?
I would say both. It was comfortable because the work environment was comfortable. Okay. It was diverse. With people from different backgrounds and ages. And it never felt it was comfortable because I never felt like I was working. I had so much fun on set. So that's why I knew I was like, this is what I want it to be. Because in my other jobs, or even, doing music in the studio, I'm like, whew, 10-hour session. I'm not the singer. I'm not the producer. I'm just sitting there as a manager.
And all of the songs ain't dope. We ain't going to act like everything is hot.
Over and over you're recording. I'm and then you try to, bring work with you to keep you occupied, but that's your job.
Right.
But then being on set, you're like, 18 hours? 18 hours went by, but it was fun. I'm learning. And being a PA, I was able to go to different departments, because you had to help everybody. You need coffee, you need photo. And then I was like, only thing that was uncomfortable was I was 32, 33, and I'm like, I'm a PA. Well, all the PAs are 19, 20, 21. I'm the oldest one there. But I'm learning from them, and I was able to meet, again, different people from different departments and learn which department I wanted to be in. So the only challenging thing about it was figuring out my role, because she didn't tell me what my role consists of. But then it was another young lady by Ashley Washington. Hey, producer of Zeus Network.
What up? Oh, okay.
But we started with Love and Hip Hop.
Zeus is on fire right now.
And she's a heavy producer there now. But she's younger than I am, but she knows way more than me, And she took me under her wing, and she's like, look, if you want to do this, let me know what you're doing. I'll help you. Even though she's doing her position, just don't stop asking questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
That's a gem.
Right.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's a gem.
No one's going to look at you like, why don't you know this? Everyone's going to be like, they're just going to give you the answer because they need it done. Yeah. And if they don't have the answer, they're going to direct you to the person that can give you the answer. Okay. So I bombarded everybody with questions. And for them to see that I was seeking answers and seeking knowledge, they gave me my answer plus more, which then helped me to get to where I needed to get to.
Dope. Again, y'all, going through the list. We going through the list. No, because I want to, the reason why I'm making a joke of it and making light of it, but I want to highlight that qualified conversations is for individuals, like I said in the beginning, who are in fact qualified, and we're just letting you know what makes this woman qualified.
Aw.
You know, you speak
It hasn't
about,
been easy though.
but no, but that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
Because the journey is the more I guess gratifying thing versus the actual reward. The reward is like that's what you're supposed to get at the end of it all. But the journey is the beautiful part that has you on a podcast, being able to talk about it at length, because it wasn't just overnight.
Absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying? And it's good to hear these conversations, because sometimes people might not know that it takes all of this work to get to where you want to go. Like, you know, people know in theory, okay, I got to put the work in, but they don't really know what that means. And everybody doesn't really understand that it's gonna come a time where you're gonna be faced with the reality of, am I built for this or not?
And that's the season I'm in now.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
A lot of people, like, again, may look from afar and think like, she's doing it, she got it, she's built for this, and then I'm a human.
Sure.
I'm a human being. I question myself. I question my abilities. I question where am I going now, you know? And as Nipsey Hussle says, the marathon continues. It's always going to go. You're always going to grow. Your journey's going to continue, right? And it's just like, what else do I need to do to get to what I need to be, or who I need to be, I should say. And being an entrepreneur, you know, it comes to times where it's like the money dries out sometimes. Sure. The investment stops, the partnerships are not there anymore, the networks are dry, and it's not like no one's, excuse my French, fucking with me.
Right.
But, you know, it's just everyone else has other things that they're doing too. Right. And you can't always depend on the same people, the same group of network to always want to just work with you.
Right.
They have other endeavors or other businesses.
And people want to grow.
And people want to grow too. And it's just like, if I haven't reached the place that I thought I should be, then it's like, it comes to me like, I'm sitting there like, well, am I still supposed to be doing this? Like, I question myself.
So now I want to speak to you. Just don't forget about the cameras. It's just me and you talking. Because I go through that as well as an entrepreneur, as a creative, as someone who's always trying to reinvent himself and all of those different things. And when you're faced with those moments of, oh, I'm such and such an age and I've done X, Y, Z. How come I haven't fill in the blank, right? Those moments are difficult. They're difficult because if people don't understand or speak that language, they're not going to know what the hell you're talking about anyway. So now you're forced to sit in a room by yourself with your thoughts and still have to figure the shit out. Because nobody cares.
Nobody.
It's a challenge, to say the least. But again, it's good to surround yourself with like-minded people who can bounce off that energy when you're feeling low, and you have a fellow creative who can pour into you and say, nah, that's part of it. Don't worry. I just went through this last week and I overcame it. That gives you that inspiration, that motivation to keep going. Yeah. Right? So as you continued on and doing different things, you opened up. Now, I want you to really break this down, because I've never heard of this ever. A brunch selfie museum?
Right.
Let's talk about that. That's fire, first of all. That's super fire. What is that?
So it's called the Brunch Experience, and you know, we're in Atlanta,
right? And brunch is a thing.
Brunch is a huge thing in spring, all year round. Yeah. We don't get cold, you know. Right. And it was just like, what else can I do? I'm an event coordinator. I like to have fun, and I also like to create multiple streams of income for myself. So literally, I was sleeping, and when you're in tune with whomever or whatever you believe in, or you praise and worship, they're going to give you and drop you whatever you ask for. So I just woke up out of nowhere, went to my laptop, and it's weird. I was just like in a trance that I can't even remember, that when I was done from working on my laptop, it was the Brunch Experience.
Really?
It wasn't like I planned it.
So you woke up out your sleep like Bruce Almighty and just started typing on it?
I swear. Like, people like, how did you come up with it? I did not.
Okay.
It was something that I was supposed to do to just get me where I need for my next journey. It wasn't like I was walking around and it was a thought process. I didn't talk to anybody about it. And then I was already set up in a position to create it. So when I looked at what was done with it, I was like, all right, but what makes it different?
Right.
That's the only thing I had to think about. So that's when I hit my girls up, like, if you went to brunch, what do you want for brunch? What do you look for? What do you need?
Hold on, let me stop you. Now, so you had a skeleton, right?
Right.
So now what did this skeleton look like before you reached out to your girl? What did this look like?
It was a nice deck. It was pictures. It was a, description of each picture, like what I wanted.
Okay.
You know.
So it started off as, was brunch always in mind?
Brunch was always in mind.
Okay.
You know, I like to eat too.
Yeah,
Breakfast
yeah.
is my favorite.
Yeah, me too.
So it was always brunch. But that's when I'm like, well, what's missing that what no one has?
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, we're in an era where everyone wants to take pictures, look cute, dress up for no reason sometimes, and be on some social media platform. So I'm like, oh, well, let's make it a selfie museum where you can actually eat, drink, and take pictures. But I'm like, what's still missing? And I'm like, oh, well, I like to dance. I love good music. Let me have a DJ in there. Something's still missing. What does everyone or what every place has in Atlanta? Hookah. Oh, let me have a selfie museum where you can eat, drink, party, and smoke hookah.
That sounds like a win to me.
No one has that. And when
Yeah,
I research, a selfie museum will either have drinks or merchandise. You can't bring food. They may have a food truck or they're next door to a restaurant, and they may have good music playing, but they didn't have any of those other elements. So that's where the Brunch Experience Selfie Museum came about. Found the space, found some dope partners. Shout out to my partners. And yeah, it was a pop-up experience that went really, really well.
So now, that's the conclusion of it, but I want to double back a little bit to you finding the space. Walk me through that journey, right? Because you didn't just say, I want here, and here appeared, right?
So,
or did you?
You have to use your network to make your net worth, right? So the place that I currently work at is an art gallery. It's an event space. It's huge. It's 2 floors, multi-room. And one of my partners, he is the GM of the space. And then my other partner is a partial owner of the space. So I'm looking at the space. I'm like, we don't use this particular room at all, at all. So instead of me renting or, leasing the space, I'm like, you got to be smart with it. How about I just bring the GM and the part owner of the building as partners? Then I don't have to pay for rent. You know what I'm saying?
Sound good to me.
Or, just see if they like the idea, So I already was working in a space where I built then I took the deck and then built the selfie museum around the space that I already knew about. And then that's when I presented to them, and they're like, yeah, we're all for this. Like let's use it. Let's see what can happen.
That's super fire. I mean, just the ability to create something new when, one of the age-old sayings is, there's nothing new under the sun. Nas had a rhyme or a lyric that said, no idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done.
Right. Ooh, okay. Send me that I need to listen to that. Caption.
You know what I'm saying? So, but your ability to have all the stars align and curate something that wasn't in existence prior to, hats off to you for that. Because it's difficult. It's difficult to be different and be new, right? So I want to actually read a quote that you said.
Oh, well, let's make sure I really said it now. I like to get a lot of my quotes from Pinterest. Shout out Pinterest.
Oh,
maybe feeling it at the time. Ooh, it said, this is how old Lady Ola would think. But
so something you said is, I do move in silence, but I also make sure I'm seen when I need to be.
That's my quote. Yeah, that's not a Pinterest.
That's me. Those my balls. I love it. It stuck out to me, which is why I'm bringing it up. Speak about the power of not being all in the videos and just always out there unnecessarily, but some not nostalgia, some mystique to you. kind of popping in and popping out. Speak about the importance of choosing how you're seen, when you're seen, etc.
So I noticed this in 2015 when I want to say was my turning point in life. I would share all my ideas all the time because I was when you're excited, you want to get it out. I just couldn't keep it within. But I noticed every time I would share my idea, it never came to pass. And I don't know, throughout the whole conversation, you can know that I'm a strong believer in my faith, And sometimes sometimes they say a closed mouth don't get fed.
Right.
But sometimes you have to close your mouth in order to just be in tune with yourself. Digest it, talk to yourself, listen to yourself. And when I started to just keep everything within and express myself on paper, that's how I got it out, and just talk to my higher power, that's when a lot of things came into pass. So that's when I said I move in silence, because I don't need to talk about everything that I'm going to do. But when I need to be seen, it's going to happen, because once I've moved in silence and worked through it, you're going to see everything that I've been doing and working behind the scenes.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to just put everything out there, but you never know who's for you. Because it could be the person closest to you that's actually not even rejoicing for you or praising with you or wants to see the best. It can be stealing ideas from you. We've seen it out with
All
celebrities
all
the time,
And
you don't have to put every detail of your life in front of the camera. Because of the generation that we're in now, people feel like they have to show themselves and prove themselves that they're worthy to be respected or to be able to work with and be acknowledged. I didn't grow up like that,
right.
And once I've started seeing that when I'm quiet, everything happens for me. And the people that needs to know, I make them sign non-disclosures. Like, everybody that I worked with, you my best friend, you my partner, I don't even care if you my partner and my best friend. You're going to sign a non-disclosure. Everyone signs a non-disclosure.
It's business.
It's business. It's not, because at the end of the day, if you try to screw me, I'm still Nigerian at the end of the day. I'm still first.
Yeah.
They're you're going to feel it, whether it's by law or not by law, but you're not about to play me.
You're not about to play me.
So I honestly feel like working in silence is the best move, but it's also great to get ideas from people. But again, just make sure that you protect your work at the end of the day. And when I need to be seen, you see me pop up. I'm not, if you look through my Instagram, I don't post that much.
Right.
I don't, because I am a behind the scenes person. When people see me, they're like, oh, I may look like I like to be out there and have a good time, and
it's a purpose, though.
Right. It's like that's if I could pay somebody to do my social media,
you would.
I would, because I cannot share social media. I don't.
Oh, it's out of control now.
I don't like it. It's just not. I think it's not fun for me. I like to live in the moment.
Right.
That's how we grew up.
Right. Right.
So I guess it shows my age. I don't care for it.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. I talk about it all the time. Like, we have become our parents or grandparents in some instances, just speaking about the way that things are. And, man, back in my day and shit, when I was coming up, like, did I just say that?
Like, I don't care. Like,
but it's true, because even the mindset of, I don't always got to be seen. I don't always got to run my mouth. I don't always got to show everything. It's an older way of thinking. Yeah. We know what life was like before the internet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's not a thing today.
Yeah.
Today, it's about showing everything and being vulnerable.
Right.
But is it really vulnerability?
No.
It's just stuff, unsolicited
you want to be vulnerable,
information.
go to your therapist. Like, I'm not saying, like, people find a way to vent and get things out. But when you're doing it on social media, the people behind us, they don't care.
We don't care.
You might find somebody that relates and you might have helped. But, because a lot of people are like, oh, that helped me. I'm so happy you posted, or I'm so happy you said that. Yeah, but then you just got some people that just do it just to they
be lying. These people be lying. Like, how many people you think that send the prayer hands on social media actually praying
getting
for
off
you?
and praying. Exactly.
Stop. You know what I'm saying? So I don't need that. Don't front for me. One of my mans always say that. Don't front for me. Right. Like, I don't need that. I need genuine, authentic relationships that are mutual, right? And it is you scratch my back, I scratch yours, but it's not so transactional
But
like
you
that.
shouldn't, and I don't even like that.
I'm about to
quote.
say, yeah, it's not
about
transactional
that.
like that, but it's
No.
just about genuineness and
Yeah,
authenticity.
yeah.
And if it's a connection there, then there's a certain amount of respect there.
Yeah.
And out of respect, you will scratch the other
Right.
person's
You
back.
don't think about it. It's
Right.
just gonna happen. Like
Right. All right. So now, I took the liberty rather of looking up the definition of this, and I'm assuming that you would agree, but it's a serial entrepreneur.
Okay.
So it says a serial entrepreneur is someone who starts several businesses, one after another, rather than beginning one venture and staying focused on it for many years. Would you consider yourself a serial entrepreneur?
Yeah, that used to be my tagline on my Instagram page, and then I
Okay.
changed it. But yes, I am definitely a serial entrepreneur. Yes.
Do you think that's like a high level version of ADD, the business version?
I diagnosed myself with ADD, but no, I just think because as you grow, you change, you find something new about yourself. Your passions evolve. You only get better. You never see a business person with only one business. You know, a new birth comes out of that one business. Something develops. Something it just happens, and it's just in you. Like
it's not planned.
It's not at all. Like, and then I never knew if you would have asked me a year ago or 2 years ago what I would have produced my own show or opened a brunch museum or started a nonprofit. None of that would have happened. It's just as you grow, as you network, as you meet people, you're in rooms where other people are doing more than you. You're like, wow, like that's something I can do and I can accomplish. Yeah. It's not that you want to do it, but it inspires you, to do something more for yourself and for your community or for your friends and stuff like that. So, when it's in you, it's not something you can really control,
or think about like that,
right? Because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do this, but it's just it's in you. Like not everyone's built to be an entrepreneur,
Not everyone.
And again, it's not like, but it's been in me since I was young, and I can't shake it off to this day.
Do you consider yourself someone who, how can I say this? I don't want to say has a problem with authority. That's not how I want to frame it. But
yeah, it's like no. But some of my friends already answered that.
but you get what I'm saying. But I'm asking for you and for the audience, but it's for me too, because we're one and the same in that way, in that we want to create our own and not have to answer to this one, that one, and be so regimented, because that's just not going to be fulfilling to us.
Right.
So I always just like to ask other entrepreneurs.
I don't have a problem with authority, just because some of the people that I've worked under, I've learned so much from them, and they're my boss.
Sure.
And when they tell me to do something, I'm going to do it.
Right.
It's just how you say it.
Okay.
It's more so of, what was I going to say? See?
Like, well, so your boss or whoever you have that's in the position of authority to tell you something, then you'll do it. But you were saying that you don't.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Thank you, man. It's more so I don't want no one to dictate my life.
Okay, yeah.
I don't want anyone to have control over my life, my finance, my day-to-day. No one, and it's just because you spend more time at work than you do in your apartment.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't want that. If I'm paying thousands of dollars to live, but I'm making billions or helping someone make millions and millions, and they get to stay home, be with their family, travel. Like not saying they didn't put in the work, but they put in the work to get there. Right. It's just like, I don't want to then also, and I feel like it happened to me before, like, which was also a wake-up call for me, where someone's able to say, you're fired, or you don't have a job, you're laid off. What are you going to do? They will say, prepare. Like, how do you prepare yourself?
Right.
Yes, you have savings, but there's, like, with me, in certain situations that I've been through, my savings was for my house, but when a certain situation happened, I had to use those funds for my house for something else. So you just don't never know what's going to happen.
Right.
So I don't like to feel like someone has control over my life.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I need to create my own purpose. I need to create my own visions and job security and all that good stuff, you know. So it's not that I have a problem with authority and that's why I don't want to work for somebody else. It's like I just need to be
in control.
And sometimes I'm not in control of my life, you know, but I have a lot of say for my life because my tomorrow is not planned. I think I have it planned, but I don't control what's going to happen tomorrow, you know, but I still have a say in a lot of my life. Thing. If that makes sense.
No, it does. I respect it. I respect it. And also because you mentioned the nonprofit. So, now as far as sororities are concerned.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not a member of Divine Nine, right? No. Okay. So speak about, because the nonprofit you have, that's also the sorority or the women's group, right? So speak about that, what the name is, what the purpose is, and for women out there who, I don't even know the process. So I don't want to say for those who want to join. I don't want to get y'all, but, you know, kind of talk about that a little bit.
First, shout out to Kappa Theta Lambda, the Lambda ladies. So Kappa Theta Lambda is a nonprofit, non-collegiate sorority.
Okay.
And there's so many non-collegiate sororities out there. Like, a lot of people don't even know, like, they exist, but they do. So, you know, being at Howard, shout out to Howard again, I wanted to pledge. But for some reason, and everything happens for a reason, and maybe this is maybe this is the reason. Every time they had a rush, I was home. Either it was during spring break or I had to go home for something. I was always in Jersey every time a rush happened, so I never got the chance to pledge. So then when COVID happened, with all the events that I normally do, I surround myself. I make sure I'm around women that's like myself, that's motivated, determined, that wants better for themselves, that want to have their own business, because it moves me. So because of COVID, I used to get a lot of women in my DMs like, hey, how can I move my business this way or transition this way because I know you do this, that, and the third. And I always used to respond like, I don't know everything about business. But I think because that's where the social media comes into play. Like, people see things and
perception is
they
reality.
Assume, right. So I would first let them know, like, I can't do this, but I can give you some advice or what I think you can do, right? So it kept happening during COVID, so that I looked at my contact list and I was like, let me hit 30 women that are business oriented, that's in my contacts. They don't have to be friends, but I've worked with them or I know they own a business, and see if they want to go through a 3-month accountability partnership with me during COVID. So we're not just watching TV all day. We're not eating all day. You know, we're doing something for our business. So when we get out of this, we're prepared.
Nice.
We know what we're doing once we get out of COVID, right? So in that 3 months, some out of the 30 women all of them said yes, right? And then when it was done, it was only 11 left. So out of that 11, and during their process of getting themselves prepared for their business, I said, well, how can I make this a network, an organization, right? But I just don't want another girl group. Right. I want another network of women that believe in the same morals, have the same values. And I'm like, you know, we have a good time. I'm like, oh, what about a sorority? You know, so I was talking to one of my coworkers just loosely about it. She's like, well, do a non-collegiate. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, she knew about it because her mom was involved with one or knew of a non-collegiate. Yeah. So I Googled, I looked that up, and I was like, oh, this would be dope. And, you know, and to form it, it's not for profit. I don't do it to make money. I don't do it for accolades or anything like that. So I made it a nonprofit. So when PPP came out and unemployment, I used all my money to form the non-collegiate. I paid for everything for everybody to come out, have a good time, to cross over, pay for all the memorabilia. Like, that's what I use my business, my unemployment stuff on.
You actually used the PPP for what it was supposed to be used for.
Yeah, but
you ain't go out and get you a new rollie or
I'm still
another
driving
fucking
the same
Charger
hoopty.
or you know what I'm saying? Why everybody want to buy? All right, never mind.
I'm still in the same hoopty. Trust me, I didn't go buy a car. But so then, yeah, and that's how, and then I was like, okay, so what's the name going to be? You know, it's a network of women that want to build their business, that wants to network, partner, collab. Like, that's all. I don't want to be competing.
Right.
You know, it's just, you do hair, you do makeup. Okay, let's do a spa event. You're an esthetician, or you're interior designer. Like, what can we do to bring us money? You know, and build a portfolio where people see us walk in and like, oh, that's that group. You know. So then I'm looking for names at the end of the day, and when I say it's meant to be, because you have to find a name that no one else has.
Right.
And using the Greek letters.
Right.
That was so hard.
I
could not. First, I was just looking, oh, what sounds cool? What sounded? I could not find anything. And then, I don't know how it came. It was like, your initials. It's your nonprofit. Use your initials. I'm like, I don't want it to be that. I don't want people to think I use my
fire
or whatever.
That's fire.
So when I put my initials in, it wasn't taken. So KOA, which is Coffee La Olamiji Mokomowo, is Kappa Theta Lambda. And it wasn't taken in Divine 9, non-collegiate, nothing, because, you know, so it was available.
That's hard.
So when I put it in, it came back like, yeah, you can have this. I'm like, please, no one think that I was just being conceited, or I did not come up with it. My girl came up with it. She's like, your initials is your Greek letters.
That's fine.
And then that's what happened.
What is it one more time for the people?
Kappa Theta Lambda. It is a non-collegiate sorority for entrepreneurial women that want to collaborate, network, and partner and grow their business portfolio. So we started off with 11 women, and now we're about 30 strong. And it's not women just in Atlanta. I have women that's in D.C., Jersey, Philly. They're going to kill me if I don't get these states right. Mississippi, Oklahoma, Florida. So we're all over. And I always say it's about quality and not quantity. Because even though they pay dues, we don't take your money. We don't have women join just because we need the money. Again, it's nonprofit. We get quality women that are really serious about their business. Don't get me wrong. It's hard work. We've lost members. It's not like everyone comes and they stay. But you have to put in the work to be in a sorority. And I take it very, very, I put in more work than my paying job.
It's normally like that.
You know?
Honestly, it's normally like that.
But it's growing. You know, it's 3 years in, and then we've had our ups and downs, but it's getting better day by day.
Well, shout out to you and y'all, all that are a part of. And then, of course, you know, reach out if you think you meet the qualifications. You know what I'm saying? Because more is more in that instance. So before we get out of here, again, this is our Women's Month special. You are our first featured guest for Qualified Conversations. And so just closing it out with women, about women, talk to the people about some of your inspirations, some of the women that inspired you maybe coming up, some of the women that you see now maybe in the space who are coming up, who you get inspired by. You know, talk about some of the women who you look to like, yeah, she's her.
That's it. Currently right now, Pinky Cole.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
And it's funny because, you know, she started off as a TV producer as well, and she's doing a lot of amazing things within the community with her brand, and also inviting other creatives. She started something called American Sesh, and 2 of my sorority sisters have been invited, and I'm just like, see, it's that circle. Like,
right. I reached out too.
I've been applying too.
I'm just saying.
But no, like the fact that 2 of my line sisters are, you know, they've been there. But I love watching Pinky do everything.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, but Pinky Cole is the creator and founder of Slutty Vegan, the brand that's taking the country by storm. So I just want to put that out there because people might not, know.
Right. And I've been a fan. I did like a fake branding shoot like 4 years ago with Slutty Vegan. Like I bought it and they reposted it. Thank you. But it's just like alignment. But no, Pinky Cole, I just love everything about her movement and her brand and what she really wants to do for her community, one. And then what she's doing for other entrepreneurs, because just watching everything on social media and then hearing from people that have been there, because I've already known 4 people that have been there from my network, saying that behind the scenes, she's really moving and shaking. It's not like she's somebody that's putting a front on for social media. Like, lives have been changing, businesses have been grown, investments have been made, collaborations have been made. So that's someone where, and again, I'm not on social media like that, but when I do go on social media and I see the work that she's doing, it moves me. And I think someone posted the other day, like, who inspires you right now? And I added her, like, she really does it. And it's not even just to me. And I can meet her if I want. Sure. I'm in a network, literally, where I can make a phone call and be like, get me in a room with Pinky. But I don't use my network like that. I want it to happen because it happened
and
to
it's
me,
organic,
or it's supposed to happen, you know? But that's someone who I look up to currently, and I applaud and follow. Growing up, I'm honestly going to say it's cliche, but it's going to be my mom.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to say Oprah.
No, everyone thinks that, like, Oprah's Oprah. Like, Oprah's great. She's a mogul. She's laid the blueprint for people. She's someone to look up to. Absolutely. But
your mom.
It has to be my mom. Just to see her journey, and she hasn't done like something where people will read about it and be like, wow, yeah, she's great. Like, she's done this, she's cured this, or she's given. Is my mom is a very, and I think that's where a lot of who I am come from. She's a very giving person. She's selfless. She's all about her word. Like, I can't even describe my mom. She's just the perfect person. And the fact that everything she wanted to do in life, she didn't push it on me, but she changed her life to make sure my life is good, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like, she made sure that she changed her location to make her kids' situation better.
Yeah.
From coming from Africa to coming to America, and behind the scenes doing everything she had to do to make my life better.
Yeah.
Like, she might kill me for saying this, but my mom maxed out credit cards to pay for me to go to boarding school or pay the balance. Like, I got a scholarship to go to boarding school, but it was still a balance.
Yeah.
We're going to fix that balance.
Right.
Got a scholarship to go to Howard, but it wasn't a full. We're going to figure out to pay that stuff. Oh, you want to do this? She figured out to make sure that what a mom's supposed to do, you know? But she had dreams, you know, but it stopped, you know, but she's like, I'm still going to make sure that you're good on your end. And just seeing the way she moves about it, her blessings transcended and, you know, came over to, you know, just move towards me, where I just want to make sure that when I'm good, she's good. Like, I just inspire to be my mom, even though she's not an entrepreneur or the richest or wealthiest person. It's still like, her characteristics is what makes me and motivates me to be just like her, and that type, the woman to be her.
Yeah.
And if I can just keep those characteristics, I'm going to be a better person. Yeah. And whatever's supposed to happen for me will be for me. Right. I don't need to be the next Oprah because I watch Oprah. No, the characteristics of Oprah got Oprah to where she's at. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And if you embody and have those characteristics, you will get there too.
Word.
You know? Word. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't top that. I mean, you probably got people out there wiping their eyes, and that, you know, that might have been a little
cliche, but it is my mom. It definitely is.
That's dope, and it's very fitting. It's very fitting to end and to close on that note, because your mom, powerful woman, Black woman, you're a powerful woman, Black woman. We thank you for joining us. We thank you for sharing your journey and your story with us, with the people. And, you know, of course, before we sign off, we do like we always do. And until next time, everything Rico.
Everything Rico.